Hello, my name is Phil Manginelli, and I have the privilege of being the lead pastor of The Square, which is a church in Atlanta, Georgia. And one of the great joys of my life is that I did my DTS and SBS with YWAM in 2001 and 2002, and since then have had the privilege of speaking at YWAM bases all over the world. I deeply love YWAM. I am indebted to YWAM and what it has produced in my life, and it is an incredible joy to walk with YWAM and to send many, many people from our own local community all over the world and watching God do what He's doing throughout Youth of the Mission. And I wanted to simply take a minute and introduce myself and let you know that I have a handful of teachings that I just want to hand to you to walk you through this season of transitioning from your DTS back into the season. And we are walking through a very unique moment in our story and in our history. Nothing like this in modern history has ever happened before. And we are learning and we are adjusting and what it means for us to follow Jesus in the midst of the season. And you are going to be walking through something very profound and unique, that this transition out from your DTS back into a different and changing world. And my heart is simply to give you some tools in your hands for you to be able to debrief your experience and for you to be able to transition well into what God has for you. And here's what you're gonna need to know. Transition is hard. Transition is always hard, but transition out of YWAM is specifically hard. And we are going to break that down of why it's hard, what you're going to be walking through, but what you can do to not only survive through the season, but thrive. Let me share just a couple of brief things that I've been sharing with my own community and my own church family in this hour that I think matters for you too. Friends, there's a lot of people who are concerned, a lot of people who are uncertain, not knowing where this is going to impact them, not knowing their financial situation, possibly the virus affecting even people in their own family, people that they love. And I want to remind you, as followers of Jesus, this is a moment where we get to actually put our faith and trust in the Lord Jesus Himself. Listen to Psalm 121. It says this: I lift my eyes up to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. I know this is a simple phrase, but this is the truth that we hold to. In a moment of uncertainty, we as followers of Jesus who go, where does my help come from? I know. It comes from the Lord. It comes from Him. He's going to walk through this with us. He's going to help us in our hour of need, and He is going to walk with you. 4 postures that I want to call you to take in this season. It's time for us to choose connection over isolation, specifically for you. In this moment of transition, isolation will be your enemy. And I know that we're in a season where you say, well, what can I do about that? Well, you can do a lot. You can pick up your phone. You can start text threads. You can start Zoom meetings. You can get on Marco Polo. You don't have to be defeated by the circumstances you're walking through. If you're going to listen to anything I tell you, then I'm asking you to listen to this. It's a moment to choose connection over isolation. The power is in your hands. You have to be an initiator. You have to be a leader. You have to choose connection over isolation. Second is this: we have to choose a prayerful presence over an anxious presence. Everywhere you are around the world, people are going to be experiencing fear, worry, and anxiety. You and I need to be those who actually step into this moment with a deep sense of trust in God because we've contended for it in prayer. Listen, remember the scriptures say, cast your anxieties on Him because He cares about you. Remember in Philippians 4, Paul talks about how you can come to Jesus with your anxiety and you can actually exchange it for peace that transcends understanding. You have an authority to walk through anxiety. It doesn't mean you're not going to experience it or not going to feel it. The Bible just says there's a place that you can take it. And now is a moment where we have to choose prayerful presence over anxious presence. Third, I'm calling you to be generous over being self-protective. And you might say back to me, Phil, I'm a YWAMer. I don't have much. I don't care what you have. It's time to be generous with it. It's time to serve with it. Trust manifests itself in generosity. Now is the time to care about others' needs. Now is the time to give from what you have, whether that's time, whether that's skills, whether that's love, whether that's finances. Now is the time to go, what resources do I have within me and how do I share them with other people? And last is this: we must choose unity over individualism. Now is not the moment to go rogue. Now is not the moment to let bitterness overwhelm you. Now is the time to choose love, to choose honor, to choose forgiveness, to choose one another. Connect with people. Connect with people in your DTS. Connect with people in YWAM. Connect with people in local churches around you. Now is the time to choose unity. And the enemy, you got to know this, the enemy's after you. The enemy would love nothing more than to take this opportunity to come in and wound you, scar you, sway you, move you. And this is the plan of the enemy. It's always what it is: disunity, isolation, fear, and control. This is what the enemy wants. He wants to come in and he wants to disunify you. He wants to get you in disunity, to isolate, and in isolation to become afraid. And once you become afraid, to have that deep sense of false control that nobody's going to take care of me. I have to take care of myself. This is the scheme of the enemy, and you have to stand against it, to recognize that you are in a unique moment. And so here's my heart for you. I care about you. I'm making these teachings for you because my heart is actually connected to you, knowing that YWAMers from all over the world came home from the mission field without a debrief week, that YWAMers, thousands of YWAMers all over the world got sent home early, not fully completing their missions experience. I care about you. People in my own church are walking through this. This week, we've received several people back from their YWAM communities, figuring out how to care for them and love them. I care about you. And so I ask you to trust that and listen to this counsel with trust, because everything I'm going to share over the next few videos is for your blessing. And so listen, God's with you. No reason to be afraid. God's with you. But now is the time we have to put our faith into action and not just ideas.